For a long time now, many have been sounding the alarm about the silver market, claiming that the price of silver could burst at any moment. Among those cases, this does not belong. But there are some really worrying things occurring at the moment that might place a huge pressure, and I'll be discussing those in this video as we delve into. Additionally, that stress may cause the price to rise. Although most people are focusing on the supply side, there is another development that is impacting supply chains and deserves our attention. Prices of silver have been hovering around their 14-year highs for some time now, driven by both investment demand and the continued interest in and volatility surrounding silver's industrial component, as reported by Kitco. And when prices drop, you can profit from that volatility. In my opinion, the best strategy to accumulate silver is to do it dollar cost averaging, but you should also wait for market drops to buy. For the sake of pure stacking, I like to visit Summit Metals to peruse the many goods they provide. On top of that, they offer collectibles. In addition to their excellent customer service, they will also purchase your items back from you in the event that you decide to sell or discover a new opportunity. Additionally, Summit Metals will offer you a slightly greater price for your precious metals if you mention my name when you go to sell them to them. Look into it more thoroughly than what they've provided on their website. Consequently, it is interesting to observe the current events. We are aware that the President's executive order regarding tariff exemptions for some vital commodities, such as uranium, graphite, gold, and tungsten, has been further clarified. However, experts have pointed out that silver was omitted from that official list. Although I do not anticipate silver being subject to tariffs, the very thought of it is creating a great deal of anxiety, dissatisfaction, and uncertainty. There are some red flags. A significant increase in the lease rate of silver has been generated by this uncertainty. You've heard me bring it up before, but leasing rates haven't been much of a topic there. According to Bernard Adunda, a precious metals analyst at Natixis, the current go-forward pricing for silver is quite exceptional, currently hovering around 1.2% in the negative. To put it simply, it means that the party borrowing silver is prepared to pay the counterparty directly, rather than earning interest in exchange for the silver. On the other hand, silver leaseholders are seeing quarterly earnings of about 5.5%. Silver leasing prices began to climb again, as pointed out by Doldo, indicating fresh market tightness. We went through a series of squeezes until finally achieving success last month, when the precious metal was added to the vital minerals list by the United States government. Just so you know, Keiko didn't mention this, but I should probably emphasize that this is just a draft. That is to say, it has not been formally included just yet. In addition, he mentioned that silver's new status is still unofficial. It will take 30 days after the initial offering before it becomes official, and we will also wait for public comment during this time. They are presuming that is already there when in fact it could be introduced later. You're wrong. It will, however, get the eye of Trump, who, in April, directed a probe into vital minerals. There has been a dramatic increase in the price of physical silver on the EFP and the COMEX versus London spot since this news, with prices reaching as high as $1.11 per ounce. This indicates that there is a significant demand for real silver in the United States. As a result of this physical demand, the supply of leasable material in London is decreasing, which drives up the price of silver for lease. So, it's like a squeeze on top of a squeeze. The squeezing of silver. When you boil it down to two distinct silver squeezes, we find ourselves in the two-point dot matrix. I'm not sure how many variants there are at the moment, though. By the way, the first squeeze occurred in 2021 and involved real substance, similar to the silver bullion you see here. It produced significant premiums on both the buying and selling sides. At the moment, the inverse is true, and the markets we're discussing, the COMEX, London, and the exchange for physical goods, are experiencing a series of squeezes due to a lack of supply. Now I'll tell you about this problem, which is quite concerning. Silver lease prices have reportedly climbed for the 7th time this year, which is seen as a significant development by some analysts. The extremely low levels of physical stockpiles within the London Bullion Market Association, according to some observers, explain why the silver market is so tight. This is something I've gone on and on about on this channel. With it at record lows, the price of silver has risen, and many people, myself included, think it should be going much higher. I don't want to sound alarmist though, because we've been disappointed before, and even with small price drops, there's a lot of disappointment. In a recent note, a commodity analyst at TD Securities expressed concern that silver inventories could be completely depleted within 7 months. This is particularly worrisome because it suggests that silver-backed exchange-traded funds could see an uptick in investment demand. Additionally, the arbitrage between silver futures contracts in New York and London spot prices also points to market tightness. Presently, December silver futures are selling for 55 cents more than spot pricing, but market tightness may continue. According to Dada, lease rates are expected to decrease in the coming month, but the likelihood of silver being hit by tariffs is high. It appears that fear is the driving force behind these markets, so bear that in mind. Some analysts think this is unlikely to happen, and I count myself among them. Domestic silver production only accounts for 3/4 of domestic demand, and the US needs to import about 1,000 tons of silver a year, so that's important to know too, but remember, domestic means US. The Section 232 investigation on critical minerals is scheduled to be released around mid-October and is likely to include recommendations on silver, which might include adding tariffs or not. I don't think there's going to be tariffs. This could be the point, after which the silver lease rate retreats rapidly. An earlier public statement of reassurance would have the same impact. Now that's coming in October. There's something else I'm going to be talking about in another video that could be coming sooner that could have it spike dramatically. So, in other words, October actually could be the time. Yes, wait for it, when silver's price maybe falls back dramatically. If this whole bears out to be true, and silver is not added as a critical mineral, then we could see the prices pull back maybe even to the mid-30s. Yeah, that's right, it is possible. And $36 is a very critical number. So is 34, I'm thinking maybe 35, 36, 37? Somewhere in that range. Do not be surprised if it does happen. Based off of what I'm telling you here, now it does not change the overall calculus for silver, but we have to keep that as a possibility, especially after what I'm going to be talking about in another video that could spike silver's price. So be prepared, in other words, for a rocky road for silver in the coming months. And so this is one reason why I'm somewhat reluctant to do another revision of a prediction video for silver after it already touched my latest revision, which was $41 an ounce. Right now it's below that slightly, but we'll see what happens when no matter what. It's an exciting time for silver stackers out there. And so keep that in mind in terms of the price and the fundamentals, knowing what's going on. So if you enjoy what I do here, providing you the latest news and analysis in the world of precious metals in general, and silver specifically here, I hope you will consider subscribing to the channel. Yes, indeed. And I am trying to get to 100,000, getting closer. But it's not just about those numbers, it's about connecting with you. I'd like to meet new people, and it's fun to see the different folks and get their viewpoints. In closing, I want to express my deepest appreciation for you all for watching and for your support in the form of ratings, comments, and subscriptions. I particularly value comments from viewers who offer fresh insights that expand upon the topics I cover in my videos. The transcription was performed by turboscribe.ai. To get rid of this message, go for unlimited.